Hello, welcome to another special edition 409 Sports X's and O's. I'm Ashley Elam.
And I'm Mike Canizales.
And we're joined by somebody who's making us look very small. It's
Especially
okay.
Me. Dude, I'm barely cracking 5'9" over here, so I look really tiny.
You might know him from seeing on the sidelines at HJ assistant coach Omar Sneed. I know him from watching him tear people up on the courts for Westbrook back in the day, and also the University of Memphis. Thanks, first of all, joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
You know, the HJ Lady Hawks, y'all are rolling right now, currently ranked number 2 in the state of Texas. You know, that goal from the beginning was to get back to Austin. And, you know, how are things rolling for y'all right now?
Right now, everything is going fine. You know, we just got Ashlyn back from ankle injury. And it's perfect timing because what it did was it allowed our other girls to realize that they can play because we're still, you know, pretty much running the table with her sitting on the sideline. So now she had the rest, she should come back healthy, and we'll mesh all at the right time.
Now, when Ashlyn was out, who do you think stepped up the most to try to fill her position? I mean, I know it's very hard to, you know, fill Ashlyn Jackson's spot, but who would you say stepped up?
Well, I tell people all the time, man, Delberta Guillory and Asia Wheeler, McKenna Henry. I mean, not to negate the work of all the rest of the team because we do it as a team. But those 3 girls there specifically, man, they picked it up in scoring, and Delberta could be what she wants to be, as well as Asia. McKenna, which is a big-time golf player at HJ, she's what I call my wild card. I mean, she played 1 year for me on JV. She's going to come in, and I call her Westbrook, you know, because she's going to shoot it at a high volume, and she's going to do her thing. But she stepped up tremendously. All 3 of them did.
Now, when you were going into this year, the one thing, you know, Coach Fogo and I talked about as well before the years, you schedule to play up. You play those 6A powerhouses. And just tell me about that journey and how do you make sure those girls stay, you know, pumped up when they might be playing against the schools 3 times their size?
Well, first thing, you know, you can tell a lot about a coach through the scheduling. You know, I mean, I'm going to give Coach Fogo his credit. I feel like he's one of the best coaches in the area that, you know, may or may not get talked about. We're not afraid of anything, you know, because the only thing that matters is those last 7 games. And, you know, playing that type of competition is the only way that you're going to get better. And we fared pretty well when it's all said and done. I know we dropped those 5 in Georgetown when Ash went down with the knee. But other than that, our girls fought hard, and I think we learned a lot from that. And we're going to continue to do that for years to come.
Now, you got a big bi-district matchup this coming Monday against the Liberty Panthers. You know, chat me up about how much do you know about that squad there?
Liberty used to be in our district. You know, they're going to come out, they're going to play hard, you know, they're going to play together and all that. But our philosophy is we don't really too much worry about the other team. We just try to perfect what we do. You know, we want to come in the game healthy. We want to come in hitting on all cylinders. And fortunately, we're playing it at HJ, so we should be okay.
Now, I wanted to mention that, yeah, the game is at home, and you know what that means. The Hawk hecklers are going to be out, and it gets rowdy in that gym. And there's something about it. I mean, it's tight quarters. They're right on top of everybody. And how big is that advantage playing underneath those banners in HJ?
Well, I mean, my first time walking in there is just historic. You know, I'm a Westbrook guy, and, you know, we have our own banners as well, but we don't have that, you know, unfortunately, on the basketball side. So it's historic when you're walking in that floor. I mean, that Hawk on the wall, it means a lot. I mean, that community, it means a lot. I mean, you're talking about a community that survived hurricanes. People lost their homes. We've buried 4 kids since I've been back there in the car wrecks and everything. I mean, so we've been through a lot. That community has been through a lot. But what I've learned being from Beaumont and being in this community is that these people stick together through hard times. They don't fight amongst each other. And I think that's a big thing. So when you walk in that gym, it's much more than basketball. You know, and that's not just to sound cliche, like that's real. You know, so whenever we play in front of those people, we try to give them our hearts. You know, and that's on the boys and the girls side.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I was going to say, actually, my connection to it is my cousins played for HJ. On the boys' side, Blake McCann, and then my cousin Dana was on the State's team, Lady Hawk team.
Shout out to
so
Dana.
I've been around the Hawks for a long time. And how important is it to you that the girls notice that history? And plus, you know, you've already added 1 banner of yourselves last year.
Okay, well, everybody knows Coach O. I'm very blunt. You know, I say what it is, and that's just me. When we won it last year, I mean, when we got there last year, I tell people all the time it was new to everybody. So when we got in the game, I just felt like we kind of just freaked out. The moment was huge for us. You're talking about playing against the 5-time defending state champion. Going up 12-0 on them means nothing to them. They've been there before. Okay, so whenever I work out my PE class, which is my first period class, which are all 6th grade boys, I point to that banner every day. I say, because, we had to work extremely hard to get to that point, to get to that banner. We put a community on our back that was hurting. Okay, but however, at the end of the day, that's a 2nd place banner. And I hope my people don't get upset with me, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's a 2nd place banner. We have several 1st place banners. Okay, so we have unfinished business. And so that banner is actually motivation. It's just the start of what I see is going to be a trend. We're trying to be the new Argyle. That's our goal.
I want to get back to Ashland here for just a minute. Whenever you see a star player like that, how is she able to help raise or elevate everybody else's game in the process?
Well, the one thing about Ash, what people don't understand about Ash is she's a very beautiful child inside out, okay? She's top 6% in her class in grades. She'll go to school for free anyway, all right? I wish she was a little bit more nastier, okay?
Right.
But at the end of the day, what you have to realize that she's only a sophomore. She got 2 more years left. She is a role model because a lot of the little girls look up to her. A lot of girls that I talk to, that I train or whatever the case may be, they all look up to Ash. She'll stop, talk to you, take pictures. I mean, she never says no, and it's just crazy how it all worked out because before I even started dealing with Ash, I was dealing with Ashley Curvin that's at Wichita State right now. And I have pictures, like I used to have them all in the gym at the same time because what I tried to create was like a sisterhood, and didn't know that I would end up coaching girls basketball, man. I just was doing something, but Ash is a beautiful person and she's gonna go far.
Now, bring it back upstate again, because for people that have not been there and not experienced it, I try to tell them, same thing happens in football. It pretty much happens in every sport. State games seem to move and fast forward. Things are moving so quick, and then you got those media timeouts. I mean, before you know it, it's halftime. You just barely blinked, and then all of a sudden it's over. What do you think that group learned from being on that big stage in the Alamo Dome last year?
Not to freak out, to enjoy the moment, relax. Like I said before, when we played Argyle, right? So once we lost the game in the hallway, we were waiting to go out and get, the 2nd place deal or whatever. Well, they went and got their dresses. They came out in their dresses, ready to receive their award. So our girls kind of took offense to it. But myself, I was like, hey, they knew that they were going to win the game. That was their mindset. So what we have to do is create that mindset. So the next time that we get back to that game, and I'm praying that it's them, we get back to that game, okay, well, y'all pack y'all clothes. And let's be ready. Let's be ready to win. Now, it's not going to be easy. And our philosophy is one game at a time. We will, by no stretch of the imagination, come into that game Monday sleeping on liberty. Because it's sports and anything can happen. Okay, so what we're going to do is take this thing one game at a time and enjoy it more. Because last time it was just like you said, it was a blur.
Right.
You look up, oh, it was over with.
Now, whenever you get into the postseason, does much of the game plan change whatsoever, or is it just business as usual?
Well, honestly, like I said, last year was my first time doing it as a coach. In 2015, my son was fortunate enough to be on that Ozan team that went to state, and they lost that last game like similar fashion to Lancaster, I believe it was. And I was looking at that as a parent/volunteer at the time. So yeah, strategy changes a little bit, but not much. Like I said, we try to focus on what we do well. And one thing about Coach Fogo, man, he's a genius. He's a genius. He works good in confusion, like most smart guys do, and he puts the pieces of the puzzle together. And myself and Coach Rogers, we try to just kind of have his back and look for things that he doesn't see, and just keep the girls going. I'm one of those coaches that's I'm big on players make plays. A lot of coaches are big on X's and O's. I have X's and O's, but I'm big on players make plays. I can run 1,000,000 plays, but if the ball don't go through the hole, if the player don't have the talent to at least get it, to go through the hole, it really doesn't matter. That's just my philosophy.
All right, Coach, we're going to take ourselves a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about Coach O's path to where he is right now. Also a little bit about his AAU background and things like that. And That's going to get up next on 409 X's and O's. And welcome back to 409 Sports X's and O's. We are here with Hardin-Jefferson Lady Hawk assistant coach Omar Sneed, I'm telling you, one of the best basketball players to ever come out of the 409. And the Lady Hawks, as we said, ranked second in the state. But I want to talk a little bit about your background, because your past coming up and playing professionally overseas and like you did you think that you were going to be able to relate to the girls' game?
To be all the way honest with you, I really didn't know. I was walking around Las Vegas at a AAU tournament when I got the phone call, hey man, do you want to coach? So I agreed to it. But then I didn't know what I agreed to coach. Because once I got back home, I thought about it. I was like, well, hey man, Clay coached boys and Clay didn't call me, Mike. And then didn't even realize that Mike was a Deer Park guy, and I played against his brother in district. Like, so, and I found that out at the skating ring in my kid's birthday party. We were talking and all that. And the first day of practice when I walk in, and I watch it and I say, okay. And then I watch it again. I say, hey Mike, man, do I have to do it your way, or you mind if I do it my way? Because I was thinking, like, how do I coach him?
Right.
So the easiest way for me to coach him was just to coach him like I coach boys. It's just the advice I got from Coach Travis. You know, one of the guys, like I said, I look up to, as well as Coach Boutte, Coach Michael Rouse, and these guys I look up to. I coach them like I coach boys. You know, we have very open conversations. Our philosophy, all gas, no breaks. You know, we work hard, and that's how come, like, our JV has been undefeated 2 years in a row. In my 4 years, we lost 6 games total, playing 14, 15 varsity teams. We can't get into certain varsity tournaments just because we work hard. And so one of the things that I have my girls to realize is this: if you work hard, you can get anything you want, okay? Being a young female, today's time is very dangerous, all right? When I was playing in the Philippines and I went to go eat at a friend's house, and he had a maid and all this, and we were talking about our daughters, okay? Mm-hmm. And he was like, you don't understand the importance that a daughter need a man in their lives, because when they don't have a man in their life, that's how other men or other influences get in to get them to do other things that they normally wouldn't do, because they're looking for that fatherly love or whatever the case may be. So I let them know, like, hey, when you come to school, your last name's Sneed, and any problems, you know, we'll take care of it. But they love me and they put up with me because I am a little bipolar at times as a coach.
Aren't we all?
But at the same time, man, the love is mutual, and the parents, let me say that, the parents are excellent. I can't tell you I have one bad parent. My parents are very excellent. They support. Our 4 years is not one email, no problems or anything, and I'm very tough, so it all works out.
So when you got to HJ, obviously a very great team. You talked about Fogo being a genius. What is something that you have been able to take away from him so far? Patience.
It might not look like it on the sideline when he's coaching, but patience. Whenever I do move on, I'm very happy to say that I come from Mike's coaching tree. He's taught me patience. He's taught me how to look at things another way. Sometimes not to explode right off the rip, because the problem with me is that I still have some player left in me. I mean, I don't know where it was at when I needed those last 2 contracts, but I still have some player left in me. And I tell those girls I live through them on the floor. That's why I don't ever sit. But Mike has taught me how to be patient. He's taught me how to look things at different angles. He's taught me a lot about how to deal with females, because he's been doing it forever. And he's so used to working alone that he's had to adapt to actually having other coaches that can help him, challenge him at times, have him see it another way. So working with him sometimes, I don't feel like an assistant. Like if you didn't know, you wouldn't even know who was the head coach, because he'll go sit at the end of the bench and you'll hear me calling plays. Like, and that's rare, you know. So I'm always he's one of my 5 best friends. So I can you know, I can go on and say that. So when you're working with one of your best friends, and then you know Coach Rogers is also a close friend to me as well, because I was fortunate enough to coach her daughter. I mean, it's just a perfect fit.
Now, let's talk a little bit about AAU, because we've heard of some of the bad rap AAU basketball gets, but you've had an organization that has done very well over the years. And you know, what is your outlook when you talk to people about AAU basketball?
Well, it's a lot of ways you can look at it. To me, it all just depends on who's running it and what you're looking for. Just because you play AAU doesn't mean you're going to get a scholarship. That's the biggest misconception of this thing, okay? A lot of people make a lot of false promises when it comes down to the AAU stuff. And I said something the other day, and I actually posted a picture of Kason Harris, because he played in the organization. I've been knowing the family since he was young. If you want offers, you have to have something to offer. See, and I'm not knocking, you know, but the kids these days, everybody swear that they're great. And the problem is when you tell them the truth because you want them to make it, they can't accept the truth. Sometimes people will tell you no. See, to me, that was the breaking point for Ashley Jackson. See, everybody wanted to, oh, they did this, they robbed her, this, that, and the third, when she didn't make the USA team. Me sitting back as a person that love a coach, trainer, and the whole nine, there's nothing wrong with you hearing no this time. Because now that no puts that chip on your shoulder that you need. And guess what? When you move on in the real world, you're going to hear it a couple of more times. So when you hear it, you're going to fold, or you're going to get up and give them another reason to tell you yes. See, that's the key. And I don't feel like the truth is being told all the way. Now, so far as, you know, AAU and the whole nine, it is a monster, but anything that's dealing with money is. You know, you want to put the control in the high school coach's hands, but you got to remember, they had it at first. Well, they got greedy. So you put it in these other people's hands. They had it at first. They got greedy. I mean, it's in the Bible. Money is the root of all evil. All right, so with that being said, SBG going to continue to do what they do. We're going to try to give people the best. And I will say this, because I'm not a hater, okay? It's 1 million programs in Southeast Texas. It's a lot of good guys that's working with these kids. There's a lot of guys giving up their free time, okay? Whatever is the fit for you and your child, wherever they're comfortable and they're growing, that's what you need to go with.
I want to switch it up real fast and get right back to, you know, so after high school, you know, you go to college, go to Memphis. You know, chat me up about that experience there and how was that for you?
Well, one of the things about it is I always tell kids the truth, okay? I don't lie to them, all right? So the first thing was I did sign with U of H out of high school, okay? And then I ended up getting in trouble, like before I even enrolled in the class. You know, just being a kid from Beaumont who had the big head, you couldn't tell me that I was the man, all right? But that's my point. And then when you get out there, you in Houston, nah, you know, you made this mistake once, twice, third time. Well, you got to go. You got to take that little Mazda 626, pack it all up, and hit the road. And that's what happened. So what ended up happening was my mom brought Coach Janander from San Jack. I went to San Jack. And he shows up, and I say, well, who is this guy? Well, this is the school you're going to. Like, you can't tell me where I can go. Yes, I can. See, my mom is also, outside of my wife, one of my best friends as well. And my mom, she just sat back a lot of times, and whenever I bumped my head, she would kind of get there and pick up the pieces. So I ended up going to San Jack for 2 years, being an All-American, JUCO National Player of the Year. We lost the national championship game. We went 36-1, which is unheard of. Steve Francis was my point guard, Alex Scales, William Clay, Kevin Bowden. We all went D1. And then Coach Finch came down, the legendary Coach Finch from Memphis. He came down, and when he came down, we got in trouble that day. And so we ended up running. He didn't get a chance to see me do basketball, but he ended up signing me to Memphis. I went to Oklahoma first with Coach Sampson and Alvin Brooks, Alvin Brooks was the head coach at U of H when I signed, and Coach Sampson was at Oklahoma. Well, I decommitted. I ended up going to Memphis. And sleeping in one day, skipping class, got in trouble again. Coach G comes in there, ESPN, Coach Finch was released. So now I done 2 years of JUCO, finally got my act together, got myself together, and now you mean to tell me I got to find another place to play? Well, then here comes Coach Price that's at Lamar. He came down for a visit to talk to me, and after he left, the first thing I told Coach Janana, I can't play for this dude. He don't even know me. Like, I just can't, you know. But I ended up going to Memphis, and Coach he's a very smart guy, okay? I don't know how people feel about him, man, but he's a very smart guy. So he ended up finding my niche and my role. And what Coach did for me, he gave me a mindset. He gave me the ability to think for myself and also, you know, be smart in certain situations. He also let me be myself. He unleashed what they call a dog, a beast, or whatever. He let me be that. But anytime that I got out of control with it, he would put me back in that box. And Coach Price is a great man, okay? He's a great leader, because I can still remember some of the quotes of the day that he would make us recite before the games and stuff like that. And I just think the world of him and his family, Miss Jamie and all them. So, you know, like I said, when he first came, I was like, nah, I'm not playing for this guy. But then once I did my 2 years there, him and Johnny Jones, that's at Texas Southern right now, that was the assistant coach. So, man, it was a family, and he's always be family. You know, I see him sometime, and I call him Pops, because he played a big role with me, you know, when my uncle passed away. So, I just think the world of Coach Price.
I'm kind of curious real fast. Do you remember any of the quotes that they made you recite?
One of the quotes Coach Price said, "How can you win if you ain't right within?" Okay, which comes from, if I remember right, a song from Lauryn Hill. Okay, that's the one that stuck with me the most. Because, you know, if you expecting all this good stuff, like, okay, we coaching these kids, right? We're expecting them to walk right. Okay, nobody's perfect, but you're expecting them to walk right. You're expecting them to do the right things. And like I tell them, what I'm teaching you, I didn't get out of a book. The reason why I became a pro athlete is because the first time they started putting letters with the numbers in math class, I knew that wasn't gonna work. So I had to hustle to get that straight. But this basketball gonna take me places. Okay, but once I started living the right way, once I started living my life the right way, and once I had a daughter, it changed my whole outlook on everything. You know, and so once all that occurred, man, you know, I just decided to try to walk the best walk that I can. And this basketball, this AAU, this talk and all that, it's not even a job, it's a calling. So a lot of people search for their callings. Well, I found mine, you know. I mean, I'm not a preacher or nothing like that, you know, but I found my calling. My calling is basketball. You know, when it's all said and done for me, man, they could bury me in the gym and I'll be fine. You know, so that's just where I'm at with mine.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach.
Oh, no, thank you guys.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Appreciate you guys.
Best of luck to those HA Lady Hawks. We already got our rooms booked for San Antonio. Right?
Absolutely. Hopefully we can stay the night finally.
Right.
All right.
The last couple of state trips we've gone on this past year since he started,
Hasn't been good.
our teams haven't got out of the semifinals, so we need to be.
But
able
you
to
guys
stay
will,
tonight.
right?
We got you.
Okay.
We'll
right,
take
thank
care.
you.
All right. Until next time, this is 409 Sports, X's and O's.